Hey guys, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Siobhán.
And you're in for a Brood Awakening.
And today we're going to be talking about your 2025 tea predictions. What's up? I'm Brendan. Nice to meet you.
That was my brother.
You want to introduce who's here?
That was my brother, Brendan.
Yeah. And as we mentioned in our very first episode, sometimes we are going to have multiple voices join us.
Yeah, they don't want me on the couch.
You know, if you wanted to sit on the couch, you could.
Do you want to sit on the couch?
Do you want to sit on the couch?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I didn't want it to be her idea. I wanted it to be your idea.
Oh.
I can sit on the couch. Let's.
Yeah, let's
Sibling energy.
He went, no, but yeah.
okay, you know what we can do is... Well, he's made it to the couch.
You guys look very cozy on the couch.
It is actually very comfortable.
Do you want a blankie?
Yeah.
No, I'm
You need to have
good.
the vibes.
I think it'd be cute if you had a blankie.
You're on our podcast. You need to match the vibes.
Why don't you use this one?
We have a lemon one.
Here, why don't
I'm
you
good.
use the
I'm
pink-
good. I
okay.
don't need a blanket.
But it's the vibe, Brendan. It
You're
doesn't
affecting
match.
their culture. They wear blankets.
Yeah, we wear blankets here. On this side of the camera, we wear blankets.
I can sit in the middle and it'll be less off.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe let's put him in the middle.
Okay.
Good. Right in the frame. Right in the middle of the frame where I belong. Perfect.
In the
This was the
thick of
plan
it
all
all.
along. This is going to become my podcast in about 3 weeks.
That sounds like a threat. That sounds too real.
Why do you think I keep asking you to leave a camera here?
Don't leave the camera here.
I have I think this could be an interesting question. Do you think there's a specific tea that's basically going out of style, not only in tea rooms, but also like in purchasing wise? Like one that was, for whatever reason, like really popular that you saw more in like the media and like people also buying that might just be kind of dwindling now purchase wise?
My answer is not very optimistic.
Are you just going to say
I
tea
think
in general?
tea in general. This year, at least in the US, we are facing a lot of stuff. Tariffs, for example, are something that we can be expecting. And one of the things that I'm worried about going into this year is that tea in general is just going to get a lot more expensive, which, you know, on one hand is good because I think people are too used to underpaying for tea.
Tea in
more
general,
six.
like
Yeah, so tea in general is going to get more expensive just because if we're facing tariffs from China, we are maybe afraid of some tariffs in India as well. That's going to get more expensive. And then there's obviously the shortage of Assam, which is the most consumed tea in the world, basically. And there's a entire shortage of organic Assam and just a general shortage of Assam in general. And it's an issue. That's the doom and gloom part of the podcast.
and that's been your Brood Awakening.
That was so doom and gloom.
That- I
I'm
know,
trying to
it's
throw
sad.
questions to you guys that can make it like interesting ways to talk about
Yeah,
tea.
okay.
And
So
we got
the more
depressing.
the positive of that is I think that we're going to see a lot more herbals in general. I think that the US grows a lot of its own herbs and spices, and a lot of countries that aren't going to be affected by tariffs are importing herbs and spices into the country.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. If you are on TikTok for the next 3 weeks, or actually, oh, Jesus, it's a week.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. There was this trend of people making marshmallows with marshmallow root, and marshmallow root is an ingredient that we use in tea a lot, but it's something that people barely know about. But I think that people are just going to get more interested in a bunch of herbs, spices.
Yeah, you know what?
I think post-COVID, I have definitely seen an uptick in the herbal
I think that's something that's definitely going to be way more popular in this year. Like if you're asking about tea predictions, sorry. I think that herbs, you're right. On TikTok, I see a lot more people using herbs for things than there's this holistic book or whatever, which that has like recipes of using herbs to like heal everything. And I do think that's gonna be
It's
really
very like Ayurvedic or traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah, like holistic.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be based on that, but I'm sure nobody will ever mention
Nobody's
it.
ever gonna
No,
mention
no one's
that
ever
it's
gonna give the
Chinese
credit where the credit
medicine
is
or
due, but
Ayurvedic medicine. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think holistic stuff is going to get really popular this year. I mean, like, unfortunately, there's like this underlayer of doom and gloom across all of this, right? There's a reason why people are thinking about stuff like this. People don't trust medicine. They don't trust the government. They don't trust, other countries to make things for you, right? All of that kind of stuff is gonna affect I think the American taste this year a lot.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Well, something that I kind of noticed was there's not as many like, we talked about how like you can throw a rock and find matcha. Like someone has something with matcha. I've kind of noticed there's starting to become less things with chai. I feel like for a while there it was hot to do like chai this, chai that.
So I think it's become different, right? Like I think, enough of us Indians complained about saying chai tea, that, not necessarily that people are fed up with chai, but actually people are more interested in what chai is and having it more traditional.
Can we talk about the chai tea thing?
In a second.
Okay.
I think, you know what? I think for a lot of people, like, I know a chai latte from Starbucks was a lot of people's first time ever having something tea-based.
Yeah,
so I think that was kind of like a stepping stone for people, and now people are starting to educate themselves and branch out.
As long as you're looking, like, it's hard because obviously Starbucks and Dunkin' and big chain coffee shops are tastemakers, I guess, right? Like maybe not tastemakers. They set the tone of what American tea culture looks like, but I don't think. Sorry, I said that wrong. They set the tone of what current American tea culture is in terms of like what's trending, what people are interested in, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think they're tastemakers, right? So if you see less chai happening in Starbucks because matcha is more popular, I think that is a. Starbucks is just responding to, oh, hey, this is what's popular on the internet, right? Whereas more independent coffee shops and tea rooms, I don't think that's true at all. I think that they are focusing less on, I think it's less that they're focusing less on chai, and it's more that they're diversify, because that's what it used to be, right? Is that it used to be, this was your coffee menu and then you had a chai option as your tea option, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now chai is there, but there's so many more tea options if you go to a cool coffee shop.
Yeah, like a place that does their research.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and to that point, it's like the bigger kind of more influential places where I'm like, oh, they're doing less chai based things, like a Starbucks or like a Dunkin' or somewhere where like, the way I see it, it's somewhere where like the average Joe goes to get their daily fix,
it's like Starbucks is the Shein of the tea industry.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good comparison.
Because they're
fast coffee.
Fast coffee.
Fast
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? It's the fast fashion version of what we have in the tea industry.
What would Chato be?
Buck Mason.
Hermes, obviously.
Hermes.
So when do we all get a bag?
No, if you do a comparison between like fashion and the tea industry, right? You could say that the fast fashion are these big conglomerate tea companies who are just responding to what the people want, right?
Yeah.
If you look at how Shein does the things that they do, Prada will do a show and they'll be ready.
A copy of it.
Well, yeah, but it's so quick that like Prada will do the show, and before they're even like ready to produce these things, Shein has it available for sale, because the way that they do it is that they take they take the picture from the runway, send it to their pattern makers in China, get it made, and it's automatically for sale before Prada can even start to like procure any part of that process, right?
Yeah.
And that's, it's very similar to the way that these big companies talk about tea, is that like oh, what's trending on TikTok? Oh, lavender's trending on TikTok. Let's just make 10 lavender drinks now.
can I share
Right? And then
something?
lavender is
I
out of
remember
style.
the lavender
Yeah.
craze
crazy about
last year,
lavender.
in the beginning of the year. I remember. I think that was some of the stuff I was showing you guys, where I'm like, look, they're doing
Yeah.
stuff with lavender, and you all were kind of like, ew.
Side note, though, I mean, we do have a very nice lavender Earl Grey, but I'm not.
No,
a fan
that's not
of,
what
like,
these were, though.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the things that you were showing us it was like
It was like
lavender threw
additional.
up
It was additional
Mhm.
lavender flavoring.
It was like they're using like a
not
lavender
with the
tea,
tea,
and then a lavender
specifically.
syrup, and then a lavender cold foam, and I'm just like, do I want to drink soap? No.
I'm not a lavender person, but
so
yeah.
I mean, while I don't particularly care if places like Starbucks are jumping on these trends. I think it's more indicative of what we were talking about before, which was I think we're just going to see a lot more herbal trends. So like, you know, I can't tell you which herb is going to be popular this year. I think marshmallow root is popular this week, but like I'm sure we'll get a drink with some weird herb or spice at Starbucks this year, and it's going to be gross or it's going to be great.
We'll be here to try it for you and give
guys
you
will
our
be
honest
tasting
review. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, because I feel like people who drink coffee, and you don't even have to like be in the industry, but coffee drinkers, they tend to do a lot of research on what they're drinking. Whereas people haven't put that energy yet into tea, I feel
I have
like,
a
unless
hot
you're a
take.
teaphile.
I have a hot take.
Spill it. Spill the tea.
You guys might disagree with me, but that's fine. This is my hot take. You know how basically at every coffee place you could always get like a mocha?
Yeah.
I think that's what matcha has become to tea.
Yeah,
mocha,
I think
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that.
could see that, yeah.
I mean, it's what chai was for tea before as well, right?
Like, I really
Yeah.
don't think that matcha will be going out of style anytime soon. I think it will be bumped down with other crazes that come, but I think it'll always end up being kind of like a reliable there, just like
Yeah.
how a mocha
I do
is
think
reliable
matcha's
to a coffee
always
shop.
going to be there. Like
Yeah.
the matcha's one that's not going away, much to
Yeah.
my despair.
So I guess so. Then okay. So I have a
We
question.
sell matcha.
I love
No, I mean,
hold on,
it's
hold
just
on,
I don't
hold
think
on,
that the
hold on.
matcha craze
Can I
of
say
like
something as someone who drinks the matcha that is
Yes.
sold in this company? It's literally yummy. Like, it's delicious. There are so many other matchas out there that I have tried. Oh my god, do they taste bad?
what I'm trying to say is not that matcha will always be there, but bad matcha is always
be
going to be
there.
around,
Yeah.
much to my despair.
Yeah.
And people just don't know what real matcha is, and they need to actually try it. If you're going to say you love matcha, like, just make sure you're actually drinking matcha.
Yeah, you're not just drinking like Starbucks.
Starbucks.
And I
sugar
will say this
version.
too: if you're drinking actual matcha, 1,000%
You'll
you'll
know.
enjoy it.
You'll
Oh yeah,
know.
there's a very big difference in taste. But okay, so I guess then I know we said like herbals, right? Hot for 2025 if we're going to use that fashion comparison. Herbals. It's what's in.
It's
But so
I love that little segment.
so you know how like chai had its moment, right? And now we're saying matcha's in its moment. They're very like that's a very distinct flavor in chai. That's a very distinct flavor in a matcha. What do we think could be the next one though? Like as a single thing, because when we say herbals, we mean it could be a multitude of things. It could be hibiscus, it could be chamomile, it could be peppermint. Whatever.
Hibiscus had a moment for
I
a while.
love hibiscus actually.
Yeah.
But what do we think
Before lavender,
is
I
gonna
feel like it was
be
hibiscus.
that next kind of it?
like, if it's an herb, but like, what herb is it going to be?
I say lemongrass. No reason, just lemongrass.
Just throwing it out there.
I remember lemongrass had a time in the candle space.
Maybe
did.
Where
yerba
everything was a
mate.
lemongrass.
Okay, actually,
see
what
more
was
of
trending in candles last year?
In candles last year, the year before last year, I feel was lemongrass. Last
So,
year was
This year I saw a lot of actually very manly inspired
I
scents.
was gonna
actually
say,
saw
I
a
saw a
lot
lot
of
of
chai.
tobacco.
I saw a lot of
Tobacco.
chai
Yeah.
candles this year.
I saw a lot of tobacco, a lot of
a bunch of the candles
sage,
that I saw was sage and tobacco.
whiskey and bourbon based, which is interesting. Because funny enough, tea does really well in a whiskey or bourbon based drink. I've actually had quite a few old fashions that have been infused with the tea, and it's.
I
really
do
good.
think that I actually think that chai is going to make
again?
a comeback
this
over.
year?
I do
she's
think
gonna
that.
come back.
I do. She's making a comeback. The comeback is always greater than the
on the
setback.
couch, you have to pretend to laugh at the jokes.
Yeah, because you don't fit the aesthetic. That's why you don't need to be in the picture.
Making a comeback.
God.
Wait, so
Maybe you
hold on.
guys need to
Hear it
improve the
here.
aesthetic. 'Cause-
Hear it first.
Well, I'm
here.
telling you, since you sat here, it's gotten a downgrade.
Bianca is saying that Chai is making a comeback in 2025.
I think Chai is making a comeback in 2025. I
have a
do
question
think,
to that. In what? Do you
Yeah,
have
but in what
something
way?
specific that you
I
feel
think-
like it will come back in like for like a bang?
I think that it's coming back, and I'm going to circle back to the chai tea thing because I do want to talk about this, and this is a hot take for all these people that are like, "Oh, you can't say chai tea."
Okay, hold on.
You can say chai tea. Okay, I think it's going to come back as known as masala chai.
Okay.
I
back
think
to the roots?
it's coming back, but with its roots. Like now that there's a larger population of people that know what chai is, I think it's gonna come back. And I know we talked about briefly this other company, who I love, Chai Wale, which has 2 locations, Pasadena and Orange. I don't know if I mentioned that
You did.
in this section.
You did it in the
segment.
first one, I think.
Okay, well,
it's okay if you mention it twice.
okay, well, love them. But yeah, I think that chai, they have like a bunch of different chais. Like they have a saffron chai, a masala chai.
it's
Just
like-
what else do they have? Like
It's like us. We have a few different,
Anyway.
different ones.
Cardamom heavy.
cardamom chai, yes. So I think that chai is going to make a comeback. People know what chai is now. Before, people didn't know what chai is, which is why it was labeled chai tea. Because if back in the day, like when our father was starting out in this business, he came in and said, "I want a cup of chai." Somebody would look at him like, "What the hell's that?" Tea, chai tea. So for people that don't speak the language, don't know what chai is, tea is just letting you know it's tea. So it's okay to say chai tea, guys.
Don't be snob.
Or you know, be a snob. That's fine. Whatever. It's all okay. Look,
Let's not judge people for saying
or
chai
judge
tea.
them if that makes you happy. Judge away.
It's okay to call it chai tea, guys. If
Chai
you come-
tea back 2025.
Chai tea's
Heard it here
in
first.
2025. Chai tea lattes all day.
She's going to be the hot thing. She's
Can I
going to be
say
the moment.
Another hot take.
Yes.
I think coconut's gonna appear this year.
Really?
Ooh,
Coconut.
that's interesting.
I could see that. We have some
That's
coconut
interesting.
teas.
Yeah,
we
we
do
do.
have,
We have a
we have the
coconut
Bianca's
vanilla
coconut chai
and the
tea.
Bianca's
I don't
Coconut chai.
have a reason behind it. I just feel coconut. In
Do you
my
think
soul.
people are going to want to be tropical this year? Is that why?
I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I just feel
Do you
Planet's
think-
getting warmer. We
Do
gotta
you
feel. We gotta be
think that,
tropical.
hold on, this might be a very big breach. Do you think that because, with all things considered, what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks here, that things might become more expensive? So going on a vacation or going somewhere where you would have that kind of an experience
Yes.
is going to become harder for
Yeah.
the general
I think-
population.
I
And so
think
you think they're
because
going to want to find
obviously-
little things to have that same experience?
I think because obviously, as a country, depending on what's going on politically, we always ebb and flow with the costs of things. Right now, we're in an increase. It's probably going to increase more. I think that will cause more of the stuff people are buying and looking for to be more themed or something specific with like how coconut, it's like you think of a vacation. Well,
Yeah.
if you can't go on vacation this year with your family, what are you going to do? You're going to buy candles. You're going to have stuff that you can enjoy
Like
in your
vacation at home.
Things you can drink or eat at home to get the same kind of vibe.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to repeat my joke. You can always get Bianca's coconut chai tea at Chato.
And it's delicious. I really like it.
It's delicious. So you want to know something interesting? I actually had never had chai until I started working for the company.
And you hired her?
She'd had tea before.
I grew up drinking black tea like
Yeah.
all the time.
She threw afternoon teas.
through afternoon teas every
Actually,
year.
chai means tea, so you have you're
have
drinking
had
chai.
chai.
Chai does not mean tea.
I'll correct
Chai.
myself. I'd never had
No.
masala chai before.
Chai.
Do you want me- is that
is
specific
a
enough, Brendan?
Hang on. Let's clarify this for the people sitting at home.
I'd never had masala
Okay, let
chai.
me clarify for you. Chai does not just mean it has 2 meanings. Okay, it means tea, but it also means spiced tea. Now, if I go to a restaurant and I order chai and they just give me straight black tea, which is also a meaning of chai, I'll be pissed off. I want spiced tea. I want all the spice. I want the ginger. I want the lemongrass. And I put lemongrass. Some people are different. People use different spices.
Speaking of, though, like in
the
Kenya,
lemongrass.
if you go to Kenya, what they call chai is just black tea.
See?
I didn't know that though, that you would specify like spiced chai.
Yeah, like if you order,
obviously
when you
over
order
here,
chai.
Well,
The
yeah,
chai
I mean,
that
this is
knew
it.
would be
So
bush tea. It's like, of course it has
I would
spice.
say that this is a very American thing, because this is only a thing in America, because everywhere else they do call it chai, and that's just
They call it chai tea. In Taiwan, it said chai tea.
So you
For
know
the
who we can
language
blame for
barrier.
this?
Not the Taiwanese.
The English.
Well, it's a language barrier. If there's different languages, like tteokbokki rice cakes, they'll say. Because if
Yeah.
you just put tteokbokki on a menu, and I say this because Alana just had tteokbokki.
I did, yeah.
But if you put that on a menu,
context.
you don't know what it means.
I think that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's
Context.
No,
For
okay.
people who don't know
You guys aren't
context.
going to pretentious enough places. You guys need to go to a place, look at the menu, and not understand a single thing on it. And you have to be so embarrassed
I just
to
had a
ask
whole
the maitre d'.
segment on me wanting tea rooms that are chill and not pretentious.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, Brennan,
no,
I thought our
wrong.
goal was to make it not
I think the tea world needs more pretentious.
Okay, kick him out of the pocket.
He's
Get
going
him
against
out
the
of
whole
here.
mission.
Security, get him out.
We need to be using some random herb that only grows in like a 4 square mile radius of Los Angeles.
I think we need to do.
Listen, there's nothing's gonna grow in Los
And
Angeles.
everybody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to get that cocktail because it has that herb in it, because that's what all of the cool Angelinos are drinking. And I'm
think-
too embarrassed to ask the bartender what that ingredient
I think what we need to do is create a video series.
Are you
I just
okay?
Google. If I don't know what
It's
something
okay.
is, I Google.
It's just called Pretentiousness.
This is a
with
comedy
Brendan.
podcast.
Pretentious.
And it's where Brendan takes the two of you
Stop,
to
you need your own
pretentious
web
or like
series.
elite tea spots and educates.
Brendan, you need your own web series. Just you
Pretentiousness with Brendan.
But yeah, no, I had never had
Chai tea.
until
You'd never had chai tea until you started to work for me.
yeah.
And I'm happy to have been the one to introduce chai tea.
Well, you know, it's kind of along the same regards of like Alana, right? Like she had never had matcha until she started working
Matcha
for the
tea.
company.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
Matcha tea, my favorite.
A matcha tea latte.
Well, that's interesting. Why don't we call it matcha tea, actually?
I don't know. But I think
Because the context
Because
is we know
by
it's tea.
by that point, people had figured it out.
but I think what's unique, and I think it's one of those things where it's like, wow, that's a great experience, but then it also ruined us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Is that we had something for the first time, and we had it in a great,
best
fantastic
quality.
way with the best
Yeah.
quality that you could. So it's like everything from there on out is just going to be downhill.
Because the one that I
Mm-hmm.
have too, it's not even just matcha, it's ceremonial
Ceremonial.
Yeah.
matcha, which
Yeah,
is like
it
even
is.
nicer. So
Yeah.
it just kind of, you know, like when the first thing you have is like just probably the best grade you could have. Everything else is very like downhill from then on.
Yeah, and for me, it was just like, oh, here you liked that chai. Here we have like 10 more. So it's just like me trying all the differences, and I'm just like, I didn't know
Which
which
of
is so
the-
different and unique.
Which of the chai teas was your favorite?
My favorite's the Devon's Legacy chai. I like the lemongrass.
Yeah, I love Devon's Legacy chai tea.
It's going to get us canceled.
Yep.
I think the coconut
is.
chai tea is going to be
Go
really
for it.
popular this coming year.
Bianca's coconut chai tea. Get it at Chato. And it's okay to say chai tea.
So okay, if we are going to talk about trends, though, I do have to say, because I'm always on the like. I will say this. I love a good cocktail, right? I don't drink very often, but if I'm going out to eat like once a week, I like to get a cocktail when I'm out, right? So I'm always perusing like a cocktail menu. I do look at mocktails just because sometimes they can be fun as well. And something that I am noticing within the last like 6 months, there are more and more cocktails and mocktails with tea in them.
You know what?
It is
One
starting to
thing
become
that
common.
I would like to see, and I've seen a lot more of in 2024, is like our mocktail menus, because like I don't really want to drink as much as I used to because I just don't bounce back like I used to.
But you want the fun of a cocktail.
I want the fun of a
Yeah.
fun drink that's not
Yeah.
Diet Coke. Because you know what? I hate to say it, but I'm over Diet Coke now.
I never
I have
thought
a
I would hear
question.
that.
But yeah, I never thought I'd say it. So I'd like to see more mocktails, and I'd like to see them with
Questions
tea.
from the audience?
But go ahead.
From
Yeah.
the audience.
From the director,
I've been demoted.
editor.
What is?
I refuse to be demoted.
Hey, you went to film school. You remember the audience is the most important character.
Okay, what is your question?
So I want to go down the line. Keep it snappy, obviously. Don't switch topics halfway through.
Okay,
Bianca?
yeah,
Think
sorry.
of something. I want to know this year with mocktails, because I do see on menus tea has gotten very popular, like Siobhán just said, in mocktails and also in alcoholic drinks. Okay. What teas do you think will be popular enough this year? What do you think you'll see in like actual cocktails and mocktails that could be sold publicly?
Where are we starting?
Anywhere. You're in America.
Wait,
No, like down. Like, are we starting on my end? Or are we starting on Bianca's end?
See, I lacked context. You should have given me context, like how chai tea is
Are you
context.
are you talking about like what ingredients you were gonna see
like,
in
because
those?
a lot of the times, like, so like when the Earl Grey ones were really popular, I saw specific ones where they were using Earl Grey tea with it, because Earl Grey did have that spike at one point last year where it was in like everything.
I think that's because of Bridgerton.
Yeah. And so I think with the drinks this year, instead of just like the previous question was just like, oh, what tea do you think will be popular? I want to know what you guys would think would be popular in like more of a party setting with tea, like in an alcoholic beverage or a mocktail.
I have an answer. As someone who studies a lot of this for like our videos and all that kind of stuff and blogs, something I've started to see a lot of, and I'm not complaining about it because I love an old fashioned, is a lot of tea infused old fashions. So we're talking predominantly black teas, just because you need a tea that's going to be robust enough to play off of a whiskey or a bourbon. And it is something that I think out of all the different types of recipes that we've made and I've tested for us, an old fashioned and tea is probably one of the best combinations I've ever had. It goes hand in hand, and I'm starting to see more of those on menus. So I think I could see a lot more simple kind of cocktails.
Infused ones?
Infused with tea. So I'm talking cocktails that don't have 15 different ingredients and all of these garnishes and all of these different liquors or liqueurs in them. I think you're going to start to see tea being used in cocktails, and it's going to be almost like a focal ingredient besides that liquor that you're going to be having in that drink. Because that's what I'm starting to see more of.
So you think black tea?
I think black tea, and I think if we're going to talk about a mocktail or even in a cocktail, right? We had mentioned hibiscus earlier. You can do so much with hibiscus. And I think if you're a business who you want to do something fun, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, like you don't want to have to purchase a ton of different teas to like make this work for your business, I think hibiscus, even though it's not necessarily, it doesn't come from the Camellia sinensis, but like it's very versatile. You can use it in a lot of different mocktail and cocktail recipes. I have a lot that I have that just, we haven't made them yet. They're just kind of sitting there when I do all my research and development. But I think you could see a lot of that as well. Okay. And it goes with that tropical kind of vibe that you were talking about with like the coconut.
So I think that fat washing your liquors is going to be super popular.
What is fat washing?
I'm glad you asked, because I didn't know what it was.
So it's a way of mellowing out an alcohol to use in a cocktail. Basically, you just put it, like, sometimes you use butter, sometimes you'll use milk, sometimes you'll use oil, but you just put it in there, you let it steep for like a day or two or something like that, and then you strain it out. I saw yesterday somebody doing fat washing with chamomile. So like they put the butter into the whiskey, they put a bunch of chamomile flowers in it, and then you let that sit overnight in the fridge. It like solidifies, and you just take the fat cap off of it, and then it's now infused with chamomile, but also infused, like it's also been mellowed out from the fat washing process.
That would make it really interesting. You know what? That kind of,
That's okay.
it gives me
That's
like a popcorny vibe for
So,
some reason. With the chamomile.
does it leave would it leave a buttery taste?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes it's
So it
not
would make
guaranteed.
it would make it salty, would it not? Like, cause
Well, no, I mean,
you
like,
use, like,
you
unsalted
use
butter.
unsalted butter.
okay,
Like an unsalted butter stick, maybe melt it down.
It depends on, it usually, because it depends on the alcohol, like sometimes with whiskey, you don't get a buttery taste, or like, because there's no fat left in the thing, right? There's nothing left there. It's just kind of been filtered through the fat. And really what happens is that it's not a buttery taste, but it's more like it feels like butter in your mouth.
creamy.
mouth.
Yeah.
Could you try this with cinnamon? Because
Yeah.
Like you do cinnamon.
I mean, I honestly,
whiskey.
I would do a whole series of
I think
these.
like a cinnamon whiskey
I think it could be
would
really fun.
good, Fat
I've
washed.
actually had an old fashioned that was a cinnamon black tea old fashioned.
I should try doing this.
I'm gonna try doing this when I go home. Actually, okay. So I think that there's been like so when I was in Korea, I was at the Four Seasons, and they had a bunch of cocktails that had tea in them. One of them was a milk tea, but it was not milky. It just had like
It was like a milk oolong.
no, it was a black tea, but I don't know. It's milk that.
Was it like our Santa's milk and cookies?
No. It was like milk, but then they do
watch
something
that
to
video,
it
it's
that makes
good.
it clear.
Oh,
Clarified?
yeah.
Is it clarified milk?
You can
Or is it-
clear. So you.
Like
Sorry,
you clarify butter?
The
It's like-
milk is clear.
The milk was clear.
I think that's so.
Are you saying milk will be big?
I think
this
what
year?
my thing is called.
No,
is
I'm trying
also
to-
called like clarifying, because you can clarify an alcohol like that too. Because like one of the ways that you can do it is like you make let the milk curdle, and then you filter it through the curds, and then you're left with something clear. So like,
Like
you can
a clear thing,
infuse-
yeah.
Like you can infuse.
And then make cheese out of it.
You can infuse. I think you can infuse. Sorry, I should laugh at that.
Well, no, you just get a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
You get liquor and food.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can look up what that is.
I'm gonna look up what it. Anyway, what I was trying to say is, I saw like tea being used in all kinds of ways. What I saw a lot of, and I think is going to be more of like the fruity and passion fruity kind of things, and I think that we're going to see a lot more in mocktails, as like, and also as like as syrups. People are going to be using it. A lot of herbs and infusing syrups to sweeten their drinks.
Do you
Yeah.
have a specific tea though that you
Okay,
see,
I'm sorry.
that you predict? So these are predictions. What you would predict
Yeah.
maybe being like popular this year.
Okay, so for cocktails, I think black teas are going to be very popular. I think we all can agree
I
on
think
that.
that just works best because
It works best with a cocktail.
Versatile
Yes.
with different liquors.
With mocktails, I think green tea or herbal like hibiscus or hell, even lavender, lemongrass. Actually, I think you were onto something. I know you said that in the beginning, lemongrass. You just kind of threw it out.
I like lemongrass.
But lemongrass is actually huge in cocktails as well. So like I know we're
is,
leaning
yeah.
more towards herbs, but I do think that's going to be popular.
So I do want to add something here. I mentioned this earlier. Last year, Bianca and I went to Disney. We went there for the Lunar New Year celebration, and they had a ton of tea offerings. And we did a video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's great. And so Disney just released their list of tea offerings for the Lunar New Year Festival. And something that I thought was interesting was that all of the ones that we said we didn't like, Disney did not bring back this year. Now, I'm not saying we're important or anything, but I just think it's kind of a coincidence.
I do have an opinion on this. Not to like
We're not
not to sound crazy, but I will say the majority of all those videos that I saw last year of all the people going and drinking at Disney, all they do is glaze Disney. All of the drinks, they're all amazing, they're all good, or they just say,
like
it's okay,
everything's-
but you should still buy it. Like,
Yeah.
there's very few videos, if any, that I've seen of people going to the festivals and like other stuff that they do and actually saying this isn't the best, or like I don't really like this. So I do think it is interesting that the ones you guys were honest about and said like it's not really that hot of a flavor, it didn't come back.
Yeah, and what makes me kind of curious is I would be curious to go back and taste the items that we did say we were like, no, this is pretty good, but maybe we would tweak it like this. To go back and taste them and see if it was tweaked in the ways that we like said it should have
That
been
would be
tweaked.
really interesting, yeah.
Because I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying we're important here and that like
We're important.
we did
Okay, hang on.
this, right?
We're important, but we're just not like I'm not saying that we're so huge and so famous
that
that
Disney
Disney.
listened to
but
us.
Yeah.
do not
But-
think that we are not important.
but-
we are important. We are relevant.
But I do have to say though, I know Disney they do have people out there who all they do is pay attention to
their
what
job
people are
is to
posting
pay
about
attention
them.
to people's opinions.
So, I mean,
You never
at
know.
the
Someone
time-
could have watched that video
Yeah,
and then
someone
could have
could
done
have
like a secondary
from their
taste
food-
test.
for their food division, for their research and development, and who knows, they could have like been like, oh, these people actually, they're two people. Like,
All right, with this newfound influence over Disney, Just something small. Just please stop making superhero movies.
Oh, that's Marvel. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I love them.
I'm sick of them.
You love it. What was the last one you
oversaturated.
watched?
Oh, I mean, yeah, Black Panther. But
Oh, that was a while ago.
oh my god, that was like 7 years ago.
we've got to wrap this one up. So, what did we talk about on this? I mean, just take everything.
We just talked about our 2025 trends in tea, and you know, everything that we said is going to be 100% accurate, and you should take it to heart. You should invest your money in the stock market according to like what we said out loud here on this podcast.
bleep this out.
We're not liable for any decisions or personal choices you make. This is all
think-
just opinions. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, we're not liable if you lose everything because you're an idiot for listening to me.
Okay, listen,
but you should listen.
Call our listeners
For
idiots.
listening? We want people to listen.
Brendan, shut up. Shut up.
Anyway,
Get the mic away from him.
I want to cut his mic.
That's it.